Okay, so hi everybody, nice to see you. It's Ellie in Los Angeles here, and I'm joined by Mera in Los Angeles. Nadia, where are you located today?
In the Netherlands, in Rotterdam.
Okay, in the Netherlands, and we have Davide and Vanna, who are both in Italy.
Hi, we're
Hello.
okay. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so we are all in the 3D printing community. So Mera and I are 3D printing, women in 3D printing in the Los Angeles area. And Nadia, you are women in 3D printing in the Netherlands. So do you want to introduce our Italian guests today?
Yes, it's my pleasure. So I invited Davide Sher, CEO and co-founder of 3D Printing Business Media. And he will tell us, Davide, but the reason I wanted to ask you to join us is also because you're based in Milano, so it's really the epicenter of where is everything started, at least in Italy. And Vanna Menco from Prosilas, and she's the CEO and general manager, and she will tell us about you're doing a 3D printing service bureau in Italy. So we're really curious to hear about what's happening there and how you're trying to help the community with additive manufacturing.
Yes, I don't know if I should speak or should I go ahead? Vanna first, you tell me.
Okay, if you want, I can start from our point of view. We are a service based in the middle of Italy, so we are pretty more in south region, respect Milan, but our community is involved in this sanitary emergency. So for first, we are big SLS service provider. So we think to try to help our community, suggest to every hospital and the internet network of 3D printers, 3D makers. We try to suggest solution and try to make a network between ourselves. For first, we try to get to inform the hospitals that maybe never had to print anything before, so they are not very informed about our technology. So we try to inform the hospitals around our region that we can support. We can print, for example, part of ventilators or bulbs, or something can be broken in this emergency, so we can support in a very fast, very quickly, respect the traditional technology, and especially in this time where they can find very easily part that can be broken. So we are collaborating very strictly with the medical community and doctors. For example, the hospital of Ancona, this is the biggest center in our region. We're trying to design an adjustment in a commercial snorkeling mask, for example, to make a protective mask, an adjustment for the filters, because the protective mask is the one of the things that miss in this period. So if you want to say something, Davide, about it,
Absolutely.
because Davide is one of the people that are coordinating the network online, for example, our community.
Yes, hello. Sorry. Yes, thank you, Vanna. Of course, and Vanna is one of the services that we are in contact with, of course. So basically, I don't know if everybody is familiar with what we do, but we run one of the largest media portals in 3D printing and additive manufacturing. And I think what happened, so things have been moving very fast, and like you said, Nadia, here in Milan, it's an epicenter. It's not really Milan; it's the surrounding area of Milan. Fortunately for me, but it's really dramatic, the situation, and my sister works at one of the biggest hospitals here in intensive care. She's one of the first line doctors, and so she told us really right away that this was, everybody was still thinking it was just the flu, when it was in China, and that it was not. Flus don't fill up emergency rooms like that fast, and I had it was troubling for me because I was trying to tell people outside of Italy, and they had the same reactions that we were having when it was in China. They were just thinking, everybody was still thinking it's not going to happen to us. It's happened there, but it's not going to happen here, and it's clear that it was not possible. But yeah, that's so it's a global issue, and that's good and bad. For the good side is that it shows us we're all the same. We're all absolutely the same in front of the virus. The bad side, obviously, is that it's a global issue, so it's a very big problem. As far as 3D printing goes, so as an industry media, we started to try to understand how it was going to impact the supply chains. Is it gonna change supply chains, and is 3D printing going to be able to step in, and if so, at which levels? So 3D printing, one thing that is clear to me, like Vanna said before, is that 3D printing services. So what's happening now is companies are starting to change their production lines to produce things that are necessary now. Planes are grounded, no need for planes. So Airbus is going in to produce ventilators with GKN and Renishaw. This is happening very fast, but it's happening. It was announced yesterday, but it was clear. It started to become clear that 3D printing companies are the fastest one to adapt to they can more quickly than anybody change their production lines. They can make, you make something, then you make something else. It's absolutely the same, especially for parts in this case, not really entire systems, but parts. So that's good news for the additive manufacturing community, I think, in the medium to long term. But what about the immediate, the immediate term? So honestly, I was very worried, and I'm still, but I was particularly worried because, especially in 3D printing, a lot of companies are startups and they're new companies, and they're still, they don't have the strength to survive a long economic, drought, if you will, a long slowdown of economic. So what happened was this team of engineers in Italy, a hospital needed a valve, a pretty complex, it's called the Venturi valve, and it's a component of ventilators. I've become an expert on ventilators now, but so, and they stepped in and they developed the supplier had run out. They developed these valves in a matter of hours. They reverse engineered them, printed them, and they supplied it to the hospital, and it worked. And it actually saved lives. I mean, literally saved lives. And so 3D printing stepped in when the supply chain was not disrupted; it was broken. There was no more delivery, and 3D printing showed that it could step in these kind of situations. And I think that's great news. And what happened was, this news, I think a lot of people thought it was good news. So this news really kind of went viral, like nothing we ever wrote before. It was really, we've had like 500,000 people on the website, and that's, I mean, for a 3D printed website, That's incredible. And obviously people this really resonated, not just with 3D printing, but with people outside of 3D printing too. You know, it gave hope. It gave it was like, you know, in a situation where everything's lost, you know, you still have a 3D printer to make a part that you need. And I think, you know, it's a start, it's an example. So we really kind of built on that. And we saw also women in 3D printing started to collect activities. You know, a lot of 3D printing services reached out to us from all over the world. Even the big companies reached out to us to tell us that they wanted to help. You know, they want to step in. And as Vanna was saying before, the biggest problem is communicating this to the hospitals and with the hospitals. So we're trying to work together to coordinate efforts around the world through mostly, as far as we're concerned, through this forum that we created, where where anybody can publish what they're doing, and we're trying to coordinate it now with geolocalization, because that's also going to be a big issue, right? Everybody says I want to do something, but the main advantage of 3D printing is that you can produce locally. So really, we can tell the world for you, but then somebody's going to tell the hospital near where you are. So that kind of thing needs to be coordinated. So there have to be local and global activities kind of going on, and that's what we're going to try to continue to build on. I hope I didn't speak too long, but I'll stop here. So if you have questions, we can answer those.
Yeah, I think that immediate reaction over the internet and to all 3D printing companies and the 3D printing community was really fast and very impressive. And for my part, I received email because we're actually on ASTM F42 committee for additive manufacturing. And we received information from the European Commission saying that there are 2 specialized parts that they're really in dire need of. And if anyone can help them, we took a look at those parts, and unfortunately we couldn't make the parts because we specialize in metallics for rocket ships. So that it's not gonna, we really couldn't do anything. But what we could do is send that information to people in California who probably are gonna have the same needs very, very quickly. And that's how we also looped in Matter Hackers. So maybe Mera, you wanna speak about what Matter Hackers are doing since you received that kind of information just a matter of days ago.
Yeah, thank you so much for forwarding that to us, and thank you everybody for being on the call, and thank you Italy for going through this, first and giving us some feedback on what to expect and honestly what additive is good for and what it's not good for. I think that's really what we're wrestling with right now. Is everybody wants to help, and I'm speaking from there's the industrial additive manufacturing that can make things like valves and advanced polymers and very unique geometry. And then there's the Matter Hackers community. It is more of like the desktop 3D printers, which can also use very advanced industrial materials. But we're also able to move very quickly. And the thing is that there's thousands and thousands and thousands of these desktop 3D printers across the country. So you can do that distributed, localized additive manufacturing. We have an army of volunteers that are ready to print anything. And that is, like you said, the good and the bad news. They are willing to print anything. So the first thing that they see online, they're like, yes, that's the answer. And we're like, no, you have to ask medical professionals what the answer is. Like, hang on. Like, we've seen some really great creative files and iterations on face masks. Face shields. We're all becoming medical device professionals now, so we're learning new words. Something like a face shield, which would be something that a desktop 3D printer could do very well, very quickly, and en masse. There are some files out there for some masks and some PPE ideas that are really, really good ideas, but they're just not useful. So what Matter Hackers is trying to do is address and try to direct traffic for people that have a need for the more advanced valves and, you know, very specific medical device parts that are going to need certifications and all this kind of stuff. Like, we want to route that to the kinds of machines and engineers that can handle that. But we also want to really embrace and activate the network of people, architecture firms, automotive industry, props and costumes, like professionals in all different kinds of industries that have literally walls of these 3D printers that are ready to produce something that's going to be useful. So really what I and what the Matter Hacker staff has been doing for the past week or so is listening to the needs of the medical community, matching them up with volunteers that have that printing capacity, and also just looking for those models that are printable and are, we're looking at ways to kind of route it through the Matter Hackers warehouse, where we can kind of put everything in boxes and get them shipped out to the hospitals that need them and kind of coordinate all of those efforts. So this is a time that has been amazing because we do have those contacts with medical professionals, so we can have those conversations and match them up. The passion that we're seeing from people that are just ready to make something has been incredibly inspiring, and calls like these where we're kind of putting all of this information together and like, what is your experience? What have you seen that's worked? What have you seen that's not worked? So we can really get these efforts coordinated quickly into something that's going to be useful is key. So David and Vanna, I'd love to know, has there been like a file or an idea or something that you've seen be really, really useful in hospitals that, maybe we can share and coordinate?
If I just very, very quickly, we're also, I totally agree with everything you said. And there is room for both, right? The industrial and the immediately accessible, even low cost in some cases. I think so. In the forum, we have a section, and we are working with all the services that we're working directly with to post the files that have been validated by hospitals, and the ones that are good but have not been validated, and those that maybe don't need to be validated. There are a lot of open source ventilator projects that people are building now and testing. So those are not, I can't say that those are defined already, but they're in the process. I think I don't want to say the Venturi valve is doable, but it needs an industrial level 3D printer. It can't really, not really with a desktop. You could, but you really need to be careful. The little adapter for the mask, for the snorkeling mask, but I don't know if you have those same ones in the US. It's from a French company called Decathlon. Those are used to, but you could adapt it easily. Those are used not as a medical protection mask, but as an oxygen mask for patients. That's very useful because it's for the non-invasive ventilation, and non-invasive is less delicate. So all it needs there is the patient. In Italy, all it needs is the patient saying they're okay with it, and the hospital saying that they want to go through with this. So those are, I think those are a start. I've seen a lot of other, masks. The masks are necessary. You really need masks, but they need to be good. They need to be comfortable. They need to be designed. I know WASP, a firm in Italy, designed a mask that was 3D scan of a 3D of a photogrammetry 3D scan. I think that might help. Those are some of the things I've seen, but I'm sure 3D printing moves so fast. I'm sure there are going to continue to come out a lot more ideas, and we're going to continue to post them.
Yeah. The first thing that we did that I thought was really interesting is there's a hospital chain in Pennsylvania called Geisinger, and Sarah Flora, who's a member of Women in 3D Printing. I was having a conversation with her, and she had designed these this little door pull. So the doctor, people in the hospital basically like keep it in their pocket. When they get to a door, they take it out, they use it to open the door. and then they can sterilize it at the end of the day. Not sexy, not a ventilator, not a face mask, but really, really useful. So I was able to connect her with some volunteers in Pittsburgh that were able to make 100 of them over the weekend, and we're shipping them out today. So it's little things like that that are doable en masse and quickly. And I think that as a community, you know, we're built for this. Like, I can't wait for you know, something like that, something like this, what we're doing, to hit the news and people be like, oh, I thought those little 3D printers went out of style in like 2010. There's thousands of them around the country with people ready to work them and put this network together to help. Like, yeah, guys, we've been doing this for a long time. I love that, like, PPE has become the new Baby Yoda when you look on Twitter. You know, it's really inspiring. And look, their supply chain is gonna, for things, you know, actual face masks and stuff, that's gonna kick back in hopefully in like 4 or 5 weeks. But until then, if we could come up with a few stopgaps and a few things to just make it a little bit safer, that's what we're looking for. What we don't want is for hospitals to just get these boxes of unsolicited little pieces of plastic that need to be sterilized. They don't know what they are. They don't know how to use them. That's what we don't want. What we do want is this coordinated response that we're starting to see. So it's great to hear, you know, from everyone what is working and what they can provide.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you said, there is a lot of, you know, there's the door thing is definitely useful. There's a little mask tightener that I've seen that's useful. Like you said, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of ideas just coming up. It's just going to be, you know, it seems like a year ago, but it's really been just 1 week since like things got really, really intense here. Honestly, I was really pessimistic a little while ago. Things haven't really started to improve yet, but I don't know. I think, and you know, we're not sure that the measures are enough yet, you know, so we're all still worried, but I think it will slow down. I really think now it will be a matter of a few months, I think. You know, no, I'm not going to say, but I thought it was going to be more. I thought it was going to be years initially, so I'm more positive now.
Well, maybe we can put some links in the you know, notes for this video for you know, what you're working on, for what Vanna's working on, for what Nadia's working on, for what Matter Hackers is working on, and that way people can kind of have some references.
Yeah, if you guys forward me the links after this, I can put them all together, and what I'll do is I'll assemble those in the notes section of the YouTube video, so that if anyone clicks on the video, they can also see the links and where to go. And I think that's a great point. We have speed, and we also have the Italian experience and other countries' experience to inform what we do here in the US and in California in particular. But yeah, making sure that people don't duplicate effort and they don't use the wrong materials, and they take advantage of people's experience of what not to do, rather than just going blindly and everyone saying, I'm just going to print this on my Mark Forged at home. But actually they don't have medically safe resins, or they don't know how to actually measure the parts properly, or they don't have the correct finishing. So we want to make sure that response is good because it's coming from a good place inside, but that has to be useful at the end of the day. So I think, you know, everyone in this 3D printing community, that what a great response. But also what a great way to stay connected. And let's do more of these video chats, because what we don't want is to be disconnected from other humans. So just know that we're here for you, and we don't want you guys to feel like alone or lonesome, or you know, even in our social isolating as we're doing to flatten the curve and bring down the number of people that are infected, or bring the infection rate down. That we're all doing our part. So even if you can't physically print anything, don't worry about it, because just by adhering to the rules, you're doing your part.
I also really hope, yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to say that we are as a digital media, we're online. Our team is actually, our editor-in-chief is in Canada, and my business partner is in Copenhagen, and we have the company is in London. So we're actually, and we're all online. So nothing's really changed for us. We were doing a lot of meetings before, and now everybody else is doing meetings too. Yesterday I did a meeting with my Kung Fu class, which is weird, but yeah, so it's just things are gonna be different, I'm pretty sure, after this, because yeah, the emergency is gonna be over in a few months, I think, but the effects of this are gonna be felt for a very long time. I think also good effects, honestly, but also it's a very big event.
I really hope we're gonna learn from this, at least, like especially from the supply chain perspective, not only based on like decision making, not only based on costs, but also other things like more localized. And yeah, we hope that the mindset will shift from cost mindset, but also a localized mindset a little bit. Davide, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned before that for now the solutions you're using are more industrial printers. Can you explain why and what, for example, what kind, is it a material requirement? Is it because of quality? Is it or something else? Or which technology are you using especially?
No, okay, so I'm a media person, so I'm not really using anything, but the people we're talking with are using. Okay, so it's like Mara was saying before. There are things that desktop 3D printers are great, are perfect for. I mean, there are a lot of adapters, valves, replacement parts, non-critical replacement parts. Of course, it's plastic. The virus actually lives on plastic for a long time. It doesn't live on copper, but copper is one of the best materials for killing the virus. But aside from that. Also steel, well, steel and plastic, I think the virus lives more on, but so you kind of got to be careful about that. But there are non-critical parts you can make with desktop printers. And then we are getting requests from hospitals, as Vanna was saying, for valves, for ventilator replacement parts, for more and more parts of the ventilators. So for that we're using, first you need stereolithography if you need very precise parts. Sometimes you need precision. You need really high precision, and stereolithography. There are some tough resins that can do. There are some medical grade resins. I think there's carbon over there in California that does that with medical resins, and then there is. And then there are parts that have very complex geometries where, like the valves, where you can use the SLS technologies like Vanna they have a Procilus, and that's for when you need more complex geometry. Not to say that you cannot achieve it with other technologies if you're good, but with those technologies you can do it easily and fast. And also the materials you can use, high quality thermoplastics. That some of which are medical grade, and also I've seen some the valve printed in ceramic as a test. I don't know how long the virus can live on ceramic materials, but I'm sure ceramic is a great medical material. So sure something will be good for.
Yes, I want to add something to what Davide is saying. It's very important because yes, we have to be careful. We have a great response by the community. This is a great thing because people want to help. Every people try to design his own solution to propose to the hospital, but this is not exactly what they need, because for example the Northern Hospital need more ventilators kind of things, but our hospital, for example, need more masks or protection. So we have to coordinate with people inside the hospital, and they don't need other solution. The problems are very practical, and they need the more sustainable kind of things, durable. So this is because we prefer to use industrial 3D printers because, for example, we have biocompatible kind of materials for the human skin. So it's more than plastic, simply plastic. We can print every kind of solution by ourselves. We have to support doctors and the hospitals. This is very easy to access in enthusiastic kind of spirit, but we have to be more practical and propose a solution, very practical solution.
I think you're right, and I think what we're saying here is like the rules have not changed. The right tool for the right job, like that is of course going to be key. And then it's also a matter of what's available and what's going to do the job for now. But I think the key, like we said, is communication and letting the hospitals know what is available, and to the best of our ability, letting them know what has been vetted by other medical professionals and what has been seen to be useful. And then also sharing those contacts, because those same people, those same hospitals that, you know, Eliana may be working with that needs something in metal, or that David may hear about that needs things in ceramic, or that Vanna is working with SLS and biocompatible materials, though they may also need, you know, visors that you can put, you know, plastic shields on and door pulls. So it's a matter of, you know, getting scrappy and with our communication lines and, like, you know, funneling all of this energy and all of these registries and all of these Google Docs of people that, you know, are willing to help, and all of the hand raisers in the medical community that need that help, and kind of funneling that through, you know, a couple of channels so that there are some trusted voices out there that medical professionals can go to and say, okay, here's what I need. And we're like, great, cool. I'm going to hook you up with this person, and this person. They have the appropriate networks. Go get them, you know, until the industry rights itself.
If I can add something that's a little bit, may seem counterintuitive. Like we've been saying, you know, don't make the complex parts with desktop printers, and don't and you know, a tool for everything. But we you know, we don't really know what's happening in some other developing parts of the world. And we've been, I've had a doctor from Sudan and a doctor from Nigeria actually reach out to us, asking for support. And as one thing I found out in 3D printing is that some things that seem extremely complicated, like a ventilator, once you put your hands to it, okay, you're not gonna have a ventilator like the $50,000 Siemens and GE and whatever respirators, but ventilators. But you can make a ventilator that could save a life in an emergency situation where nothing else is available, with a desktop 3D printer and a good project. I think that's possible. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's possible. I think that's what we're seeing with some of the projects. And I think we don't know. We hope the virus is not going to hit there. It seems like it's not hitting those countries as much as as we're afraid it could. But if it does, those are some solutions that people might want to think about also.
Okay, well, I think that this has been a great discussion. Thank you so much, you guys, for spending the time today. I think communication is the key. So let's keep talking. Let's keep communicating. Let's keep those lines of communication open, and we can get through this. So thanks so much, guys. And if you send me the links, I'll upload them in the notes of the YouTube video.
Thanks for coordinating, Eliana. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.